What is the darkest secret about Vikings? When you think of Vikings, you probably imagine fierce warriors in horned helmets, sailing their way across the seas, pillaging and plundering. You might think of legendary figures like Ragnar Lothbrok, the supposed king of the Vikings, or Ivar the Boneless, or even Leif Erikson, the Viking explorer who discovered America 5 centuries before Christopher Columbus. You might think of their incredible feats of strength and endurance, like their longboat voyages across the North Sea, or their battles against the armies of England, France, and the Holy Roman Empire. You might even think of their impressive feats of engineering, like their longships, which were some of the most advanced and seaworthy vessels of their time, or their runes, which are still a source of fascination and mystery to historians today. But what you probably don't think of are the dark secrets that lay beneath all of that. The truth is that Viking raids were not just glorious adventures, but also brutal and terrifying events that had a profound impact on the people who lived through them. And the Vikings themselves were not just noble savages, but also cunning and ruthless killers, who would stop at nothing to achieve their goals. One of the darkest secrets about Viking raids is that they were not just about plunder and loot. Sure, the Vikings were motivated by greed, just like any other group of people. But there was more to their raids than just stealing stuff. For example, in 793 AD, a group of Vikings attacked the monastery of Lindisfarne in England. They didn't just steal the valuables from the monks there, they also tortured and killed them. Similarly, when the Vikings sacked the city of Paris in 861, they didn't just take the treasure from the churches, they also burned them down and slaughtered the priests. In fact, the Vikings had a particular hatred for priests, seeing them as the enemies of the gods. As a result, many churches were targeted during Viking raids, not just for their valuables, but also because of the Vikings' religious intolerance. Another dark secret about Viking raids is that they were not just fought between armies, but also involved civilians. When a Viking army attacked a town or village, they didn't just fight the soldiers defending it, they also targeted the women and children. In fact, one of the most infamous Viking leaders, Ivar the Boneless, boasted that he dipped his bread in the blood of his enemies, both men and women. Even the legendary Ragnar Lothbrok, who is often portrayed as a hero, was actually a mass murderer who slaughtered countless civilians during his raids. Perhaps the most disturbing aspect of Viking raids is that they were not just brutal, but also dehumanizing. The Vikings were known for their use of torture, not only on their enemies, but also on anyone who got in their way. They used all sorts of torture methods, from the classic rack and screw to more inventive techniques like the blood eagle, where the victim's ribs were spread apart to form wings. This was not just a way to extract information or make an example of someone, it was also a way to humiliate and degrade human beings. In conclusion, Viking raids were not just glorious adventures or tales of daring do. They were brutal, terrifying events that involved torture, murder, and the desecration of everything that made humans civilized. The Vikings were not just noble savages, but also cunning, ruthless killers who enjoyed inflicting pain and suffering on others. So the next time you hear a story about a Viking raid, remember that there is more to it than meets the eye. There is a darkness beneath the surface that should not be ignored. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.